Welcome once again, folks. Richard Reeves with TheSecretTruth.com. We've got George Butler, Randall Mock producing the show behind the scenes, and we're honored to have a fantastic guest. And even before I introduce him, I want to say this, folks. Write this down. Get your pen and paper. MyPillow.com. MyPillow.com. Get ready. After this interview, after you watch what Mike has to say, go there and warm up the credit card. All right, Mike Lindell.
And use promo code Mike.
All right, hey, promo code Mike. And guess what? Mike might get a little commission from it. So, by the way, I love this pen. I wish that we could get a close-up, but hopefully you can sell that on MyPillow.com as well, that pen.
Well, I don't, but I have one.
But tell us what's going on.
What's going on is everybody, we're here at this great event with everybody. You've got so many podcasters, so many radio station people, so many people that are getting canceled out, taking away our platforms of YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and Google. All these things are trying to cancel the mainstream media.
And I know you've been at the forefront of that being canceled out. Tell us about all that.
Yeah, I've lost 20-some retailers, Twitter, both my Twitter accounts, Facebook, when I put something up there that's like Absolute Proof, my movie, they'll put contains nudity and profanity, Lost Vimeo, all these, I've lost them all, but that's why one of the reasons I came up with frankspeech.com, and this is like YouTube, Twitter, and if everybody goes there, and you guys got to get your show on there too. It's right, when we get there on Monday at 9 o'clock, I'm going to be making a big announcement. We're going to be on 40 hours straight, 48 hours. And at that time, we're going to do an announcement between 9 and 10 o'clock Central Time. It's going to be heard around the world.
And repeat that website again.
It's frankspeech.com. Frankspeech.com. The platform is Frank, and we're going to be able to handle hundreds of millions of people. I've got my own servers, whatever. It's like a YouTube, Twitter combination. Now, when you get there and set your profile up on Monday at 8 a.m., you can set it up, but you won't be able to do anything. I'm not going to do anything the first 2 days to comment and stuff. The first 48 hours, because we're going to go live from there, and we're talking about our First Amendment that's been taken down, our right to free speech. We're going to talk about, on Tuesday, I'm launching the next movie, Absolute Interference. This is going to change the world because you know what? You watch this, and we're going to have the guys in there I had to investigate the machine fraud in this attack by China. And you're going to see these guys are going to be on camera with me. Their faces blocked off. But we have, with all this evidence, doesn't matter. If you watch this, even if you're far left or whatever, and you like what's in office, it don't matter. You're going to say, oh, wow, China attacked. We got to do something.
Right, and I really want to thank you on behalf of the United States of taking on the electronic vote fraud, because so many people, including hundreds, if not thousands, of politicians that have lost races due to these electronic vote fraud machines. And Mike Lindell, the MyPillow.com guy, stands up and takes them on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you know what? Then you're right. The whole world is watching. All these I'm going to put on TV too on Tuesday, the history of the machines. They started in Venezuela, started with Smartmatic, and we're going to go through the timeline. It took them 2 years to take Venezuela. Then they take down tickets and everything with these algorithms. Now, and then it's going to go, then we're going to have a big timeline. Then they went over here to this country. What did they do there? This country did them. We're going to see how they split different entities. Dominion's just a big kind of a shell for Smartmatic. Right. Smartmatic's the mothership. All the people that work for them, I hired my own private investigators. We investigated them all. We got it, and I'm going to show it to the world on Tuesday. Everyone, you're going to know. By the time you watch this, you'll have forgotten more about machines than anyone will ever know. Wow.
Well, the powers that be definitely stepped on the wrong toes here. So I'm so glad you're on our side exposing that. And that's on Monday.
Monday to join frankspeech.com at 8 a.m. to join Central Time. 9 a.m. we're going live. If any of you are old enough to remember the old Jerry Lewis telethon, this is going to be a Frankathon. We're going 48 hours live. Wow. And I'm having Alan Dershowitz on there with my team of lawyers. He's going to be on there and talk about free speech, talk about what's going on out there when they're threatening lawsuits and suing people. Dominion is, and Smartmatic, just so we don't talk about it.
Right.
And people now are losing their stuff because they talk about the vaccine, or if you talk about, I don't want to wear any masks, you talk about the border, people are getting canceled out.
Right.
And that's what we're all going to talk about the first whole day. The next day, all the evidence is pouring out. You're going to see the debut of the movie Absolute Interference. It's going to change the world. Then going forward, I'm encouraging every single person in the world can come to frankspeech.com. The platform's called Frank. This is your new Twitter, YouTube combo kind of thing. There's nothing like it out there. I have a media platform where you're going to, all these media people that have been suppressed now can talk freely. And I did say on there, I said, well, what do you mean by free speech, Mike? Can anybody say anything? I said, well, what we did is we went back to the founding fathers, what they considered free speech in our country.
Right.
And we also checked on some court cases. Well, you know what free speech is based on? Biblical principles, actually the Ten Commandments, the way it's explained.
Right.
So we're putting that statement.
So free speech is backed by truth.
Backed by truth.
Veritas.
Backed by, you're not going to say, I'm going to kill you. Well, that's one of the commandments.
Right.
You can't write that on there.
Right.
And I said, and you're not going to be able to use God's name in vain on the platform. And then what did old Jimmy Kimball do a couple nights ago? He goes, Mike Lindell's coming out with his new platform. It's called Frank Speech, frankspeech.com. And he goes, but it's not free because I can't swear or use God's name in vain. That's what he said.
I believe it.
And then he bashed me for being an ex-crack addict. He said, and attacking my Lindell Recovery Network. But Frank's speech will be huge. And we welcome everybody. I want everybody to go there because we can speak freely again and be able to say opinions. I want to hear, you know what? That vaccine, no, I don't believe in it at all. I think it's mark of the beast. But I have friends of mine that want to take one, or people that I know, loved ones, and they're going to take one, and I want to know which one would be safe. And then I find out none of them are FDA approved. None of them are.
They're all under emergency FDA authority.
Yeah.
And so we're literally the guinea pigs that they're trying to do.
Absolutely.
The good news is the last numbers I heard out of Texas, only 12% have vaccinated in Texas. And now they've opened it up to where anybody that wants to take it can take it, but they're only sitting there at 12%. So we're probably going to see in Texas 60, 70, maybe even 80% saying not just no, but hell no.
Right, so exactly. And I've said it before. If you want to take a vaccine in Israel, the big fight over in Israel, the government there wanted all of Israel if you didn't take the vaccine, you couldn't work and you couldn't go in public.
Can't even travel.
Well, let me tell you, there's a lawsuit against for that change. And I got on the speaker over there and I said to him, if you take the vaccine, good for you, Special K. You shouldn't worry about what I do then.
Totally.
You should not worry about what I do if you think it's so good.
Right.
But don't worry about what I do. And the guy goes, well, it's going to save more deaths. I said, you don't need to worry about me. I think if I take it, I'll die. If I don't, I won't.
Yeah, it's like you take care of you, I take care of me. So
that's right.
That's great. Well, Mike, I really appreciate it. And final words, whatever you got to say that's on your mind.
What I want to tell everyone is we're going to get all this. We're in the greatest time in history. We're living in a time where it's historical with the changes that are coming. We get out there about, I don't know how far out, it's just like my life. I'd see something bad would happen and I go, oh, it was devastating at the time. I look back now, I go, that had to happen to get to where the great spot now, right? So we're going to get to this great place. It's going to be the biggest uniting of a country in history, and we will once again be one nation under God. And I believe right now, I know we are in the biggest revival for Jesus ever.
Ever. Yes, sir. Totally agree.
God bless you.